Hey guys, Brian Van Dyne here. I just wanted to tell you guys, I thought of this last night when I was at the gym with my buddies, and we were working out. Success is deja vu, because in order to really succeed in business, you have to dream it. You have to envision it before it can actually happen. You have to see where you want to go, envision it as clear as day, and then envision the steps that you got to take to get there. You don't just wake up one day and then all of a sudden, success. That's not the way it works. You actually have to work for it. You have to work towards it. And it takes longer than you expect, but it also is greater than you expect. Like when you really work hard, like to get to 4 trucks where I'm at right now, back when I started, I didn't think I was going to have 4 trucks for a long time. I thought I was going to be struggling with 1 truck for a couple years, and my goals changed. The steps to get to those goals changed, and once you get on the path and you see things are starting to work the way they're starting to work out, like you're starting to see 1 and 1 add up, then you can look closer and see, okay, how do I make this go even faster? How do I make this more productive? How do I make this more efficient? Right? And that's basically kind of how business works. Like, they say most businesses are in business for, most of them go out of business before 5 years. Like 2 to 5 years when they all, they're in business or they're not in business. And usually, because what happens is they start out with a large sum of money from a lender or whatever, and they're working their plan, they're working it, and then by 2 years in, they finally realize, they're like, oh, there's not as much money in this as I thought there was, or this is more work than I thought it was going to be, or they spend way more money than they're supposed to, and they're like, we're going backwards. And then they throw in the towel, then they quit. Right? But if you start out kind of small like I did, if you start out with 1 truck, an old truck, that's what I always tell people, have your first truck as an old truck. Figure out what being in business is actually like before you take the leap into hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars in debt like some people. Figure out what it's like to own 1 dump truck and have to do maintenance on that 1 dump truck. And then decide if you want to be working on 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 or 20. You got to be able to handle 1 before you can handle 4. You got to be able to handle 4 before you can handle 8. Right? You got to realize, also, growing is going to put you out of your comfort zone. Right? But the good thing about starting small and working your way up is you're not just going from crawling to leaps and bounds. You're really not doing that. You know, you start out baby steps, and next thing you know, you're walking, and then you're jogging, and then you're running, and then you're sprinting. Right? You kind of build up to it. You don't just fall out of the sky sprinting. It doesn't work like that. You know, you're not going to be sprinting one way or another, no matter how you start your business. If you start your business with a brand new truck, you're not going to start sprinting. Let me tell you how. You're going to fall from the sky with the brand new truck, and then you're going to be, if you do have tons of work, guess what? All your money's going out in payments. All of it. So you're still doing baby steps. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're doing baby steps because your profit is so low. Right? It may be worth it to you to have a nice equipment and have peace of mind that your equipment shouldn't break. It's going to break still. I mean, there's no question about it. New trucks break. They have issues. They all do. It don't matter if it's 20 years old or 2 months old. Right? If you start with an old truck, the baby steps are, oh, I got to fix this. I got to fix that. I got to fix this. I got to fix that. But your profit's going to be higher. If you do the work yourself, the profit's going to be higher because the initial cost to get into business is much lower. Your overhead's way lower, right? Your insurance is lower because the vehicle isn't valued as high, right? Don't even think about it, bud. So, a lot of people ask, you know, how do we get into business? How do you, realistically, bud, you know how to get into business. You know the steps to take. You're just not taking them. It's literally that simple. You know, people ask me all the time, Brian, how'd you lose all that weight? How'd you get in shape? You're looking great, this and that. How do you do it? How do you do it? You know the answers. Why are you asking me? You know how to get in shape. You know how to start a business. You know how to bill. You know how to send out invoices. You know how to talk to people. You're just not doing it because you have these mental blocks in your head that, you know, society has put on you. You have put on you. Your family has put on you. Your friends have put on you. Your relatives have put on you. All these people have put these roadblocks in front of your way. You need to learn how to look past the roadblocks and just start moving in that direction. You know, a lot of people get analysis paralysis. And that's where you start thinking about all these things and then you take no action because you think too much. You don't do enough and you think too much. Realistically, to run a successful business, you do not have to be a brain powerhouse rocket scientist. You don't. You literally don't. You just have to have action. Like 99% of it is action. I am not smart by any means. Like if you listen to my grammar, if you look at the way I write, I can't spell. I'm not a very good reader. I'm not amazing at math. I'm not amazing at any one quality except for work ethic. That's it. That's really like one of my biggest things that I got going for me is my work ethic. If I start something, I do not give up no matter what. And then on top of that, not only will I not give up, if I don't know how to do it, I will figure it out. I don't care how hard it is, how long it takes, I will figure it out. You know? The only way to take a motor apart is one piece at a time. The only way to start a business is one step at a time. If you want to buy a truck, save $1 at a time. You know? If you can figure out how to save $1 at a time, and then figure out how to be more productive and save $20 at a time, and then $100 at a time, and then $1,000 at a time. Eventually, you will have enough money to buy a dump truck. It's not rocket science. A lot of you guys start saving up money. You get, a couple $100, and then something happens, and then you're like, oh, I'm never gonna make it. I have to spend all this money on this. Sometimes life is gonna hold you back. But that is not an excuse. That is a cop-out. Or it is an excuse. That's all it is an excuse. It's not reality. It's an excuse. You are taking the responsibility off of yourself. You're dissolving all self-accountability and self-responsibility and saying, oh, not my fault. This happened. I can't do it. This happened. Bullshit. You know how many times I could have thrown in the towel in business? Oh, I can't find somebody to fix my frame on the 85. I might as well just sell the truck and give up. Oh.
Still on this one, Van Dyke?
Yeah, what's up? What's up? Anyways, you have to learn to take 1 bazillion% self-accountability. If you want to be super successful in business, one of the best ways to become so successful is take accountability for everything. Never make an excuse. Never. Always put the blame on yourself. Figure out how to blame yourself for it. And then, once you realize that it's your fault, then you take a step back and you say, how can I prevent this from happening again? It's literally that simple, guys. It's literally that simple. If you want to become successful, you got to put the blame on yourself. Even if you can't control circumstances. Like, I watched a reel one time on Andrew Tate. If you go outside and you get rained on and you get wet, it's your fault. Because you could have thought, oh, maybe I should bring an umbrella. Even though you can't control the weather, you can control your circumstances. A lot of people in my situation. Okay, so let me give you a personal example of this. The 2020 Peterbilt. This last December, not this last December, but last year December, or 2 years ago December, I guess, 2 Decembers ago. Not this last one, but the one before last. I had to replace all the injectors on the Peterbilt. I had like a $16,000 bill. That hurts, right? Before winter, $16,000 going out like, damn, man, on a brand new motor. That's my fault. How is it my fault? Well, I wasn't changing the fuel filter. I didn't know there was 2 fuel filters. I knew there was one. I was changing one every oil change, but the other one I didn't know even existed. This just goes back to being naive and thinking I know what I'm doing. But realistically, I had no idea what I was doing, and it ended up costing me $16,000. Luckily, I was smart enough to have a nice little nest egg, and it wasn't a big deal, I had plenty of money. But it all goes back to giving yourself self-accountability. How can I prevent me from buying $16,000 worth of injectors and all this other equipment again? Learn that there's more than one fuel filter. There's 2 fuel filters. Change them every oil change. That's what I do. A lot of guys, a lot of companies do not change their fuel filters regularly. They don't. Every single used dump truck I've ever bought, I take the fuel filter off and it's clogged. Like, you can literally dump it out and see rust water and all these particulates and everything in the filter. Every single used dump truck I've ever bought, the fuel filter's been on there for probably 100,000 miles. At least 50. I'd be surprised if it was less than 50 with how much garbage I found in them. Like, it's absolutely asinine. You know? And then, you know, there's these guys that go into business and they can never take blame for anything. They always put it, oh, PACCAR's a horrible motor. I had to replace I had to replace all the injectors. PACCAR, it's PACCAR's fault. They have a crappy product. Anybody can put the blame on somebody else and dissolve self-accountability and self-responsibility. If you want to be successful in business, you better stop doing that. You better learn how to man up and take it right on the chin. Once you get punched enough, eventually you're going to learn how to slip a punch. Once you've been in business long enough, you're going to see what hurts. You're going to see what costs a lot of money. And you're going to learn how to, whoop, oh, you missed me. Oh, you missed me. Bop, bop, bop. You know, give them the 1-2. Your first and second year of business is not going to be very easy. But the longer you've been in business, the more you learn what works and what doesn't. The longer you've been in business, the easier it is going to be to make money. Which is absolutely crazy to me, because if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? If you have integrity, honesty, and you provide a good service, how do you go out of business in 2 years? 3 years? The only way you go out of business is by not taking self-accountability and self-responsibility. That's the only thing that can happen. If you start dissolving yourself of accountability and responsibility, you start dissolving yourself by making excuses, you're going to put yourself out of business. There is so much work out here. I mean, the large companies literally buy, I've seen companies buy 100 trucks in a year. How can they do that? They have a manager. If he doesn't hold himself accountable, somebody holds him accountable. If he don't do his job, he's going to get fired. So he forces himself to be accountable. In business, there's nobody to hold you accountable except for you. You got to hold yourself accountable. If you want to start a business, then start a business. You know? Don't be asking people, oh, is it worth it? Is it worth it? It's worth it if you can hold yourself accountable. And if you can, you know, not make excuses, you can make a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money. If you don't learn from your mistakes, anyways, guys, I just want to do this little video. Felt motivated to do a little video, talk to you guys. So, don't forget to pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and check out the channel membership. It's less than $1 a month. You guys pay more on your coffee and OnlyFans than you do for my channel, so, you know, and the value is way higher. Let's be real. I'm talking about real life here. It's worth it. Just go ahead and do it. Anyways, catch you on the next one.